Hi, want to take a walk around Sonoma County with me? I took these pictures from April to July this year, '03. Let's start in Healdsburg, about a block from the plaza, where this nice building that seems well designed for the little town. Around on the other side of this same building, there's a different architectural treatment. I like these old-fashioned street lamps. These are old hop kilns in the Russian River Valley. 75 years ago, hops were a big crop in this county. You can see the conveyor that took the hops up to the upper level where they could be hung up in the dryer up the top of the kiln, and they were heated by fires down below. I like the simplicity of style of this little church in Kitati. I think it's called the Church of the Oaks. A steeple of the same church with some nice gingerbread on it. Here's some clever artwork on a bridge pier in Santa Rosa Creek down near the new upgraded railroad square. Part of the creek's now been made into a greenway through town, and this is one of the murals alongside of the walkway there. Of course, one of the efforts is to make a better environment for fish. Now, this one kind of took a shortcut. Usually the artist did the work, but there are quite a few of these clever little things like the ant and the dripping paint down there. In one of the city parks of Santa Rosa, there's a little railway for the kids to ride in. Apparently they got some money for it by getting people to subscribe for the tithes. Looks like it from this little dedication plate. I think the locomotive stands over this one for the local jeweler. A quiet carousel in the same Santa Rosa park. I came across this house, and I call it the Green Monster. In the next pictures, we'll see some of the wildflowers that are so nice in the spring, plus leaves and other plant materials. I should say that I can't vouch for the accuracy of the plant names because I'm strictly an amateur. Here's the harvest rodea. I found this in a field in Crane Creek Park. A close-up of a single blossom of that rodea. This is blue-eyed grass up in Annandale State Park. Just some bronze leaves of the sycamore. Why this plant in a city park called a flannel bush, I don't know, but it does have a nice 5-petaled flower. A larkspur in Foothill Park, the only one I saw that day. This striking little flower is called bird's foot. It's a lotus genus. These pretty little red buds and leaves were at Crane Creek. They're called a creeping snowberry. I don't know what's creeping about. Well, I guess the whole thing's a vine, probably. One of the docks that grows around what are pretty wet places, I think. I thought it was a nice deep red, and this was in Regal Ranch Park over in Sebastopol. I'm not sure what this flower is. It might be the white brodea, but the bugs liked it. I think there's 7 on this flower. A little summer pool in the creek behind my apartment house. Wild blackberry flower. I thought this was a nice, richly colored fiddleneck. The sun just came out on these black walnut leaves. It's hard to find a tree with more blossoms than the buckeye tree. Took a while to find this shot. These are the blossoms of the buckeye just before they open the new buds. Thought they were a real nice, pretty soft shade of reds and greens. Most of the stalks are 8 to 10 inches long. This is a mature spike of blossoms. The stamen are very prominent. Lots of buckeyes drop on the ground, but this is one of the few that has begun to take root. You can see the root going down and the leaves going up. Some new little leaf buds of the buckeye. Just a little clover blossom on the picnic table in Crane Creek Park. I came across this nice dandelion at Olompali Park. That's down by Novato. I haven't found what this little flower is, but I think it's amazing what a whole palette full of colors there is on this old rock. Early summer vegetation down at our little creek with some dock in the center. I like these little flowers that have so much detail in them. This one's about a ½ inch across. It's also very good detail of my old straw hat. There's no wall for that ivy to cling to, but those little fuzzy hairs would get a good grip on most any surface if they could. I understand that Clem's been studying those plant cells in those little hairs, see what makes them able to stick on so fast. Finally got a picture of fennel, some people call it sweet anise, that shows how lacy it is. Also, talk about little flowers. There's a tiny little red one over there on the right side. I found this fat little guy up in an oak tree in City Park in Katati. These little galls must have found some pretty nutritious sap. On this grass seed head, I noticed these little seeds that wouldn't shake off, because each one seemed to be attached by a tiny little hair. You can see that on the one on the left. This tree carries a remarkable amount of non-tree growth, including this pretty colored gray-green fungus. One of the spring wildflowers up on Annandale State Park near Santa Rosa. I think it may be a hedge nettle. Vetch is one of the non-native plants we find in California's fields. It was planted for forage for grazing livestock. I got a particularly bright and colorful one for this shot. This little scarlet pimpernel was in a field just above Glen Ellen. Here it seems more like a Chinese red than the scarlet. Just some new valley oak leaves. Well, I guess I like the new spring leaves. My flower book calls this rough cat's ear. I sure don't know why. This little group of coast live oak with a nice smooth bark was at Regal Ranch Regional Park near Sebastopol. And these are the nice shiny leaves of the live oak. The Sonoma County Regional Parks are planting native trees in some of their parks. This new California laurel or bay tree seems to be taking off nicely. This oyster plant seed head's about to open. I think this lily with the little brown anthers is kind of pretty. I think it's called a silk plant. I put it down on the ground so it'd show up. Not very scientific way to take a picture, I guess. I'd been taking pictures of the hummingbird on the butterfly bush. Finally, he turned toward me, and here he is taking off. He flew right up to my face and buzzed me. He'd have enough. These vines have a good start up the wall of the new Healdsburg Hotel. I see a lot of these little red half-inch leaves down on the ground, but I don't know what they are. Not many plants put on a faster rate of growth in the spring than these wild blackberries. I've measured 20 feet of growth in one season. In Santa Rosa's Railroad Square, I found these pals. Snoopy's holding a little rose. They remind us that Charles Schultz made his home in Santa Rosa. Roanoke Park is out in the valley where the soil is pretty much clay, good for molding dog tracks. A duck not very worried about me. This grasshopper didn't jump till I had the lens right down to his antennae. He, or she, was in Olompali Historic Park near Nevada. Park had been a Native American village hundreds of years before the Spanish. This little native flower was growing there, Olompali. Let's see, what's that called? Oh, this is the coyote mint. Looking out from the Olompali village to the Petaluma Creek estuary and down toward San Pablo Bay. The palms were added by a European family that lived here quite a while. Just an old fence post near Glen Ellen that I found fascinating for some reason. That old worn staple, maybe. I call this class reaching for a classy heirloom shot just before sunset in my apartment. Up on the old Annandale Ranch, which is now State Park near Santa Rosa, is where they quarried a lot of this volcanic rock for cobblestones and building blocks from as far back as over 100 years. Many were used for the streets in San Francisco as well as for buildings after the 1906 earthquake. This remarkable picnic table is across the creek where I live in a park right next to a school. Enough said, I guess. I use an inhaler so I won't have asthma, and I got curious about what was inside it one day. Sometimes I go down to my neighboring town of Katati. This picture was taken 3 blocks from the center of the city, which is the plaza. But when the accordion festival is on, the plaza gets to be a lively place. I call this one Skywater with mint. These handsome cattail seed heads were down in the creek behind me. This bug stared me down finally. Like the down on a thistle caught in the sunlight. Miner's lettuce with the tiny blossoms in the center. Some poppies against the blue sky. This beautiful iris was up in the hills above Windsor, Sonoma County. I found these eucalyptus blossoms right near home. This is a single hound's tongue blossom. Usually there are about 12.5 of these on one stalk. I like to see them up close too. These little bright penstemons were in a field between the oak trees. After being away 65 years, it was nice to come back to Sonoma County, and I'll be out there again soon.